जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम students of grade 11. This is Pakistan International School Thai. Welcome to our YouTube channel, and you are here with me in English Hub. How are you, students? How is everything going on? How about your behavior, your dealing with your siblings and with your parents? How are you? Are you taking care of them, or just wasting your own time? So I think we should take care of everyone, right? And be obedient to your parents as well. Yes, you are here in our virtual learning system, and this is our lecture number 2. Unit is the same. We have the same unit, and or even the topic is same. Our title that is his first flight, right? And it's me, Mrs. Imran. Ji bete. We're going to discuss first our learning outcomes. As previously, we were talking about reading and writing only, right? But now we're going to finish out this chapter as well. So I have added uh, 3 more points in it for our learning outcomes. The third one is reading and writing already we have done before, and now the third one is grammar. So the first one, as I've told you, it was all about to be able to read and understand language and description of topic and a variety of text. So this is how you learn that day as well. And the second point was writing to be, and in writing it was to be able to write describing impressions, feelings, and experiences, and to write about familiar topics as how we practiced that day, as how we read about, and you learned many new words as well along with your. And I think that due to that, you can write your own comprehension, keeping the same topic in mind, right? Now, the third point is it's grammar to be able to understand and apply the body of rules surrounded by English grammar, including the parts of speech. Yes, in your exercise, parts of speech are given. Then tenses, of course. While reading a chapter, you have learned already many tenses over here because the different types of tenses have been used. That's past, present, and even a few sentences in future as well. But overall, it's about present and past, right? And different other types of tenses and different type of sentences as well. Yes, these you'll be doing in our exercise, right? So the last point is it's about our vocab bank as we have already studied and we have discussed that day. But now again, I'm telling you, it's new vocabulary words to be able to learn and understand a variety of new words related to the topic. All right. So let's start our chapter. And I think if you want me to review, to have different chunks from the from the last paragraph, so it was all about, as we have studied about it, we have learned so many points about it. It was about a young seagull, bird family. How would they trying to motivate a young seagull to fly, and he was reluctant to fly. He wasn't willing at all, and he had some fears, and those fears were known. Actually, we must say like those were unknown fears, right? Because he hadn't flown before, right? So that fear was actually his unknown fear. That's and like in our day-to-day life, sometimes it happens we hadn't practiced anything, and we just are afraid of something, doing something, like we feel reluctant to do something, and we had somewhere in our mind or back of mind that yes, if we'll be doing so maybe we'll not be having fruitful results. So due to that, what happens actually, we start thinking in bad way, and we just feel ourselves disappointed, and we feel like we can't do that, and it leads you towards pessimism, as we discussed before. So now now we are starting the second, third, fourth, and fifth paragraph, right? Yes, g g. So it was all about. Okay, g g. He cried, begging her to bring him over some food. This is how he was requesting his mother that do something for me, mom. What are you doing? Why are you not giving me food, right? Ga ooh, ooh, she screamed back desperately. Now the mother was there. Mother said, and like the way he was crying and he was begging for having some food, but the mother was, she was still on his own stance. She was screaming mockingly. She had her own point of view. She was simply telling him, I mean, like, whatever you are doing, it's not in your favor. You are supposed to fly at any rate. I mean, you don't have another choice, right? But he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. But he kept calling plaintively. Now he was like so sad, and he was having that plaintive attitude, like he was sad, mournfully. He was trying to call, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Now, where he had a feel like, wow, my mother is gonna do something for me very special, right? His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. It was actually an incentive for him, right? Now, mother used another trick for the child or for the baby or for that seagull bird. What she tried to do, and what was that trick? She simply did what? She simply picked up a piece of fish, and she was trying to show it to the bird, but actually she wasn't giving, right? He leaned out eagerly. Now, yes, he was trying to catch that. Like, of course, he has that desire to have that, right? Tapping the rock, I mean, tapping his feet like the small children do it, the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. This is how she was handling, right? But when she was just opposite to him, abreast of the ledge, now he was over there at the level of that ledge. So she halted her legs. Now she pulled up her legs, yes, hanging limp. And now because those legs were a little stiff, right? And her wings motionless. Wings were what? Wings were motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. This is the ideal situation for a bird, right? This is how he was expecting actually. He was thinking, like, mother is so much closer to me. I mean, she was about to give that a piece of fish to the bird, but he waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she didn't come nearer. This is like there was an interrogation, right? And he had this question in his mind somewhere, like why she's not getting so much closer to me so that I can have that piece of fish for me. And then maddened by hunger, as we have discussed it, that it made him crazy. It gave him an additional thought that why I'm not getting that, right? He dived at the fish. See, this is the situation, children. Now make up your mind for that, right? Or you can visualize the same, right? You can imagine that situation. Like this was the position when he dived at the fish, when he tried to get that fish. Now see, oh my God, it's so interesting. By the way, I love this paragraph. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards. See, this is, as we discussed before, unknown and known fear, right? So this is again known and unknown feelings, right? He didn't know the outcomes, right? He didn't know what will be happening with him after moving his wings, or after preening his wings, or after flapping his wings, right? So he was trying to flap his wings, and with a loud scream, I mean, outward and downwards into space. This is how he was. This was the actual situation. It's a setting, right? His mother had swooped upward. Now, what mother is doing, she's taking plunge upwards. I mean, like she was just moving upward, right? As he passed beneath her, he heard the swish of her strings. Now there was a move, right? And that rushing sound was actually again captivating. It was so I mean, it was a situation where he was inclined to. That was a situation where he felt that now he has to get that fish for him as a food or as a meal because he stayed hungry for a long time, right? Then a monster terror seized him and his heart stood still. Yes, this is like he had a feel about himself. Monster terror in a way, like he was literally, it was a dreadful environment or the circumstances for him. And circumstantial pressure was that, like he thought about himself like he is still, right? Or he's standby. I mean, he is not moving himself anymore, and his heart stood still. And he felt like he cannot do anything for himself, like he got stuck in that particular situation. He could hear nothing. This is again a situation because he had never opened his wings for flying before. So it was his first experience. It was his first flight. He gonna fly now, right? So make just keeping this point in mind that he gonna fly. So what was the situation before? He could hear nothing. Just I mean, it was like that. Like if first time you're gonna do something and you simply like you simply get stuck in somewhere and you simply start staring at something. Oh my god, it's me, or can I do this? So it was a situation like that, right? But it only lasted a moment. That remained for a short while, and then afterwards, the next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. Wow. Now, at last, he his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers and it came across, then under his stomach and against his wings, right? So then he could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. Now, cutting through the air. Oh my God. Just imagine that how swiftly he was flying, right? And his wings were supporting him, right? And he was in capacity to fly now, right? He wasn't falling headlong now. This is how he was getting scared in the beginning, right? Because it was his known fear that I'll be falling down if I'll be doing so, and if I'll be moving my wings so high, so or if I'll be trying to fly, so I'll not be able to. As you know, students, usually what happens, there are different types of phobias, right? People get scared when they are going on height. People get scared when they are looking or just getting into the sea. So there are some fears, right? And people we do come across such situations. So, but this is about bird. But symbolically, if we see, it's giving us a message as well. As I told you earlier, the author is trying to let us know as well and teaching us that we should never get scared of such situations. Rather, we need to face them and we need to handle that situation. Now, he was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. Now, slowly and gradually, he is moving and he is rising up, right? And he was no longer afraid. I mean, this was only the first, as I've told you, it was just his fear, right? Now he has proved himself as a valiant, as a fearless bird that yes, there is no fear at all. I can fly now. Or just like a person, I mean, like I symbolically, I'm saying, right? It's not, of course, it's a bird. So having like maybe a loin-hearted guy is there, a person is there, the one who has taken his first flight and can move on, have no fears at all. He just felt a bit dizzy. He felt, of course, it was a feel like sometime he was feeling like I'm not that much strong or energetic, so a little weak or little dizzy type. I mean, he was feeling dizzy, right? Then he flapped his wing once and soared upwards. Again, he was rising upwards. He uttered a joyous scream. Now, of course, he was. It was full of joy, and I mean, of course, he was feeling so glad that I can fly now, right? He soared higher, and he raised his breast and banged against the wind, and he was facing, and now then afterwards what was happening, like he was inclining and moving forward, and sometime rising up and then moving down. So he was actually enjoying those all dives. Yes, he ga 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 ooh. His mother swooped past him. Now, mother was, of course, there was an important role of his mother. So she was giving him response to her wings making a loud noise, because he was also so glad. She was so happy and excited that yes, I have achieved my goal. Whatever she along with his family members were thinking about, the bird, they achieved that. He answered her with another scream. Now this was there was, like the dialogues were going on, or maybe body language and facial expressions and all that. So they were communicating actually. So just imagine, it's again, students, as I've told you, it's a story of birds, but you may just apply it anywhere. So it was communication still going on, right? Apparently it seems like it's been going on. He answered with another scream. Then his father flew. I have missed many of the phrasal verbs as we discussed in the previous lecture, so I'm not gonna explain this again and again everywhere. But now I have made you able to recognize these phrasal verbs and idiomatic phrases. So you need to make a list of that, right? Because later on, whenever you will be writing your own compo or writing any piece of writing, you'll be working on. So these phrasal verbs and idiomatic phrases will help you a lot to beautify or to um, enrich your writing composition. Okay. Then he saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him. See, at last, now they are supporting him, right? Because in the beginning, it seems like they are not supporting him, but now everybody is there to help, to just encourage him, because actually they had somewhere in their mind that this was their purpose, right? So on purpose now they were giving him response positively, and series of jump, energetic, right. There was a time when curveting, banking, and soaring and diving. This is how they were going on. So curveting is a series of jump. Energetics is when somebody's flying swiftly, but it's an energetic flight, right? So this is all about. Then he completely forgot that he hadn't always been able to fly. Students, as I've told you, that it's a symbol, symbolically, if we just observe this, there's a great message that once you achieve your goal, once you achieve your target, you forget rest of the pain you had before, right? And you forget everything whatever happened in the past, and it starts mesmerizing you, right? It gives you a feel like it's an enthusiastic feel, right? You feel like it's been that you have whatever it was in your mind, it's been achieved, it's been attained, right? So this is how it's been mentioned here, and commends to himself to drive sore cravat and shrieking shrilly. So that was a proud cackle, like the way as we discussed. It was a shrieking shrilly. So it was highly pitched tone. It was a tone where he was feeling so confident, where he was feeling himself like, yes, I am confident. I'm just a person who is having meddlesome characteristics, or maybe I'm a lion-hearted. I'm the one who can do anything in this world. He is having this approach here. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea. Sorry. Yes. So he was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him because there are it's a wonderful world in front of him. It's a lively and colorful world in front of him with different views and scenes, with little ridges moving over it, of course, because it was a narrow, long hilltop area. He turned his beak sideways and crowed amusedly. So pleasantly, he was giving response because he was. It was a, and after seeing that charismatic views and scenes around, so he was enjoying this beautiful world. And around him, his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. See, children, now, once he is on his destination, everybody is supporting him. Everybody is giving him, encouraging him, and giving him that support. Or they because he himself is a confident guy now. He himself can enjoy that all, and he was the one who took step. What does it show actually? Let me just conclude it, or conclusively, we can discuss it in a way like it's you and you only. Nobody will come from outside to help you out for any of your trouble. And they can just guide you, your friends and your classmates, your family and friends, your parents, anybody, your teachers, or even your mentors. Anybody, everybody can just guide you, can give you a track line. But it's you and only you, the one who has to take first step and to move forward. So, for stepping forward, what you need to do, you simply have to do what? You have to uh, boost. You have to just muster up your courage so that you can continue and you can achieve your goal. जी बेटे. Now, uh, we're gonna start our this exercise. The questions are very simple. If you have understood chapter, if you have listen to the lecture carefully. So there is nothing left behind. Everything is loud and clear spoken in front of you. Everything is discussed in front of you, loud and clear. So there is nothing left, by the way. But still, if you want me to just tell you or to give you a little hint for the question answers, even I can give you, right? The question number one is, what's the young seagull afraid of, right? So the young seagull had been afraid to fly with his brothers and sisters. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid and didn't have the courage to leave the safety of the ledge. This is how you can extend this question more and answer more, and you can write a question answer for this question. Question number two, why don't his parents, his brothers and sisters give him food? I think there is no need to tell, but for your ease, I'm telling you. The parents, brothers, and the sister of the young seagull don't give him any food. They want him to muster up courage to fly in the air. They want to force him to fly and search. I mean, his own food, right? They want him to search, like he should search himself, like he shouldn't uh, feel himself at back, and he should take step himself. What does his mother do to force him to fly? What did she do, right? His mother is very intelligent and witty. She was like take as a lady, right? So she shows great concern for her young one. Firstly, she enforces young seagull to starve, then shows him food that madden him, and finally take the food within the reach of his beak. That was so interesting, children. I never forget it, and I always enjoy this part of the chapter. But stop at an admirable distance. But still, she was at distance, right? As a result, he jumps over the food and find himself outward the cliff and in the space and bound to take his first flight, right? What does he feel when he finally flaps his wings and finds that he is not falling? That was so interesting. He finally flaps his wings and finds that he is not falling, he feels that all his fears about his maiden flight were baseless. Now he understood, right? He is no longer afraid now. He comes to know that he is not falling headlong now, although he feels a bit dizzy and loses his balance because, of course, it was his first time. That was the reason, right? For a moment, yet he flaps his wings and starts flying upward. He enjoys his flight of his life and utters very joyful screams. So it was all about the question answers, right? So I have just given you a hint. You may write in your own words because it's free writing. You may use your own free writing skill because you have been studying English for this. Like it's been since long, 10 years. Uh, you've already studied English, so you can use those all tactics and techniques and write your own answers, right? Yes, are the following true or false? The young seagull had never been off his ledge before. Yes, of course he was. His sister was smaller than him. Yes, true. The young seagull fell off the ledge into the water. No, no, not at all. And the seagull's family was afraid that he would drown. No, 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 not at all. So it's false. What's the significance about the bird's first flight? I mean, it's all about courage and support, we have discussed a lot about it. So you may write in your own words. What lesson do you learn from the simple story? That's very interesting. The lesson it can be taken as our fears, which we feel them. We take them as fears, but those are actually not the fears. Those are just our own cowardice approach as we think for something or for any step in our life. So we have to just, without thinking, without giving a second thought, we should just take plunge. Yes, why is difficult? Why it is difficult? Okay. The next question is, why is difficult to do something for the first time? Of course, it's understood because it can be there could be different reasons. Maybe the reason can be that if there is lack of confidence, or maybe due to complex feelings, because somebody is thinking that I can do it, but the next moment he just changes his mind and he thinks like I'm not in position to do anything. So it's maybe because of confidence, means due to lack of confidence, or maybe his cowardice approach, or maybe he feels about himself like or maybe due to some complex having some inferior complex, or maybe having a feel like uh, his own feel having doubts on his own abilities, right? So there could be different reasons for that. Have you ever found yourself in a situation in which you were supposed to do something for the first time and you couldn't muster up your courage to do that? So yes, students, it goes to you. You have to write something regarding the same question. You have to jot down few lines for me, and I'll be seeing later on. I'll be checking that comprehension. Yes. Now, before starting this, let me just explain you about. Now, Beta, first we have to, before this even, you just open page number uh, 17. Yes, the same page. This is about parts of speech. You've been studying parts of speech since long. It's all about your noun, then pronoun, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, and conjunctions, prepositions, and interjection. So you need to just review these all and the types of these. So you can easily solve the next exercises. These are not as much difficult. You can fill those blanks easily. Uh, yes. Now, what is a sentence? Well, knowing that a group of words that expresses a complete thought or idea in which there is no confusion at all. Subject is given and the rest part is even given. So that's subject and predicate. That's called subject. It's a combo of Subject and predicate composed of at least one independent clause, where subject is not depending on the next one word, and the next part is not depending on subject. So it is called as an independent clause or independent sentence. What is a subject? A subject is the person or thing that is doing an action. It's a doer actually, right? Or the person or thing that's the focus of the sentence, on which that the stuff or the work or the task is being done. So that's your subject. The second part is a predicate, because it's a combo of your sentence. Your Because it's your sentence consists of these those two specific parts. So the predicate of the sentence is the part that contains that particular action which has been taken, right? So just keep this in mind. Simple sentence. Whenever you just, okay, forget about everything, forget whatever we have read. Just make a small sentence based on one subject along with one action or one word, right? So what comes in your mind? A simple sentence is a sentence which consists of one independent clause, main clause, with no dependent clauses, right? There is no subordinate clause. There's a simple sentence. I come. The boy cried. Canada is a rich country. So these are not depending on each other, right? It's a simple sentence, one independent clause. So the girl ran into her bedroom. Simple sentence. It's not depending on each other. It's an independent clause. Some students, so it's a subject, like to study in the morning. So it's a predicate. So it's based on, as we discussed before, so it's based on subject and predicate. That's called a simple sentence. G. Now we'll discuss, which it's very important. Just keep your eyes open, right? And listen to me carefully and focus on this slide. Compound sentence. Compound sentence is a sentence that contains two or more independent clauses. Like that, one simple independent clause can work itself and can give you the meaning individually as well, but it's not depending on the second one clause, right? But it's more than one in that clauses. Example: Leslie will sing in the talent show. Okay, fine. Even it's still here, it's no problem. I mean, it's independent clause, but we are adding one more word with that. So that's a connector. This is and is your connector here. And we are saying we expect her to win first place. This is what we are suggesting to the girl, right? So this is a connector here. So this, because of this connector, it's called as a compound sentence. Second example: Joe camped up. Now what's happening here? Like, she camped, okay, fine, with his Boy Scout troop. This was like, it was actually happening. So even till here, the sentence is pretty good. We don't need to add one more, but we are adding one more connector here. After using a connector, we can see the sentence, the next part. They had to come home early. Because of this, it should happen this way. All right. So they had to come home early. Aaron draws very well. This is how he does. So no problem. So is a connector here. He was selected to enter the poster contest. Got it? So this is about your compound sentence. GBT, it's a bit different because it's a complex sentence. It's giving you different reasons, different logics, and sometimes how one clause is depending on another clause. One independent clause is ruling another one. And there are some reasons and some logics and some different situations, right? It contains an independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. One independent clause ruled by, this is independent clause ruled by two dependent clauses are actually ruled by one independent clause. So without this, you cannot make a complex sentence. An independent clause can stand alone because that's an independent clause, but a dependent clause, even though it has a subject and a verb, cannot stand alone. One way or the other, it has to depend on that particular independent clause. Like we can take this example. Independent clause first. We won the game because we worked together as a team. So what's here? It's an independent clause, but it has to be with it. Although I broke my arm, I still cheered for my team from the sidelines. So this shows that it is that particular dependent clause, right? And this is because of this particular reason. Although I broke my arm, so I still cheered for my team for the sidelines. So because of this, it's known as complex sentence. Yes. जी बेटे, now there is the last exercise. If you open again, let me just tell you, page number 25. Book page number 25. Yes, so that's exercise number 14. So there are there is specific exercise for simple, complex, and compound sentences. So it's for your assignment, for your homework. You can do it yourself because I have told you, I have explained each and everything for you. So you can do better yourself. Ji bete, I think you learned from today's lecture a lot. We have talked about the chapter, we discussed the chapter in detail, and it's finished today. Then we finished our exercises as well. And you may review each and everything stepwise. And if you feel anywhere like you got stuck in, so no problem, you may ask me later, no problem. I hope you have started your Holy Quran and offering your prayers regularly. So it's very important to offer prayers regularly and be focused. That's very important. Be on your toes. Get ready, mentally get yourself prepared for your studies, because whatever, I don't know your previous or your routine, but whatever you have done till now is over, gone is gone, no issues. But now onwards, you have to study well and take your studies seriously. Stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. God bless you all. Take care. Allah Hafiz.